Good evening. The time is 8:29 p.m. Galactic time. Just been watching the Frontier Developments live stream for the next chapter that's coming along, and this was part 2 that they were showing. It'll be up on their YouTube channel any moment, and I just wanted to go over a few of the things that they've covered and have a bit of a discussion about them. So if we go to here, so first thing they talked about was the new planetary painting that they're doing. So for a while now we've had planets, they're all quite a bit beige and you know, variations on a theme, let's say. And so they've gone in, they've done a lot of reworking on these planets so that they look a lot more varied and they feel a lot more varied on approach. And in fact, they were saying in the stream that you'll be able to essentially predict or tell what type of planet it is from the visuals as you approach it without even a scan. So if I just play the video clip of this, so we've got a nice orange and white planet there, and that's a brown and orange by the look of it. The other one in that system, a different planet, a darker. This one's much more cracked and it seems to be more mountainous. These are some odd-shaped moons by the look of it, and this really reminded me of our own moon. This was quite nice to see in the little montage that they were playing while they were talking. And yeah, absolutely stunning improvement, I think, on the current planet paint, let's say. If I just whiz through, there we go. Let's have a look at that. Yep, there we go. It's got that look of our own moon. You know, it's got the light bits, the dark bits, but there's a little hint of color in there, which is nice. You know, if you've ever seen some color saturated photos of our moon, it's got color to it. You just have to pull it out of the picture. So this is quite nice to be able to see that. Now, one of the next things that they showed was well, it was this. So they excuse me, they showed a moon, and of course it's the Chieftain. So it was really really pleased to see this in tonight's live stream. It looks an absolute beast of a machine. It's not the, you know, insanely OP craft that I think a few people thought it was. 4 engines, so it's very maneuverable compared to ships of a similar size. It is a medium craft, so you know, you can land it at outposts and you know, not just the bigger stations. So they Ed and I forget the other name, the guy's name from Frontier, but they went round and did a bit of a walk round of the craft, just showing it off, showing the angles and what have you. Looks like it's going to be quite good for heat management based on the amount of those glowing heat sinks in the back. At least I hope that's what they are. As I say, medium pad. It's got when you factor out the wings, assuming that the hitbox excludes the gaps between the wings and things like that, it's quite a small footprint from sort of top down. So I think it'll be interesting to see how it handles in a proper firefight. But as you'll see later on, it's very maneuverable for its size, and it seems to pack enough of a punch that it's going to be useful. So the hard points, which we'll see the outfitting menu in a minute. Well, let's just have a look at him rolling it around, and he's not really. Oh, let's actually have a look at the cockpit. So it's one up front, one at the back of the main cabin. There's a lot of glass, so there's going to be a lot of visibility as far as combat goes. So you know, if you're playing in VR or you're playing on the Rift and what have you, you'll be able to look up and track a ship overhead as you turn, which is great because it really helps figure out where the enemy craft's gone. You know, it's if you're playing on just a monitor looking straight on at the screen, when it goes up, you know, when the enemy ship just does a turn and disappears off the top of the screen. You've got to use your radar to figure out, has he gone left, has he gone right, has he put the brakes on, and he's actually turning back down to see us. So it's going to allow for a lot of improved VR combat, I think. And as you can see, it rolls quite nicely. It'll be interesting to see a proper ship thruster video. I know there's a chap on YouTube, I believe, that does these, and there goes through a roll phase and a yaw phase and a pitch phase, and it'll be interesting. Now here we go. Right, so these are the hard points. Now the interesting thing with the hard points on this ship is they're all down the center line of the craft. So you can see directly above the cabin there's what appears to be a small missile launcher, and then we've got a large multi-cannon, I think, and then a medium multi-cannon at the back. But we'll have a look at the loadout and in the outfitting screen in a section. So if I just scrub through, and okay, so this is nice. This is it landed at the station that they were showing, and it's interesting to see how the undercarriage is put together on this. So there's a pair of front legs just under where the cabin is, but then the rear engines have these honking great big feet in the back, which you know, I don't know how heavy the ship is, but it looks like it's going to support a lot of weight, let's put it that way. So they look absolutely gorgeous. It's going to be interesting to see this actually dock and land, and the legs deploy and everything, like the Diamondback, which has got the foldable rear engines. So next thing on here is the outfitting screen. So this is the hard points. So we've got a pair of large hard points, we've got a single medium hard point, and we've got 3 small hard points. So it's not Federal gunship as far as hard points go. They did compare it. They said it's somewhere between a Python and a Federal gunship. So you know, that's going to be an interesting thing. Certainly it's going to have a faster roll, I think, than a Federal gunship, which will mean it's going to be much more nimble in a firefight with smaller ships. And then we've got the core internals. So size 6 power plant, size 6 thrusters, 5A frame shift drive, and a ship of this sort of size and weight, I think is going to be fine with a 5A. You can always throw a fuel scoop on and be done with it. 5D life support, 6 power distributor, 4D sensors, and a 4 fuel tank. So again, nothing. I don't think this is the sort of thing that you're going to take out on an exploration to Saj, but it's, you know, it's stick a fuel scoop on it and you can essentially go anywhere. So the optional internals, we've got a pair of 5s, a 4, and a pair of 2s, and then we've got the military slots, which is 3 4-size military slots, and of course the obligatory approach suite. So other things that they talked about in tonight's live stream was the improvements to the trade data. And one of the things that we're used to seeing is the galactic average price, which you can see on the right hand of all those columns. And there's been a few interface improvements that they've said about the pips, instead of it saying low, medium or high, just to give a bit more screen space. And one of the things you can do is you can see it says over on the right hand side who they're exported to, and obviously at the moment we're looking at the galactic average price, but we can go and set any station that we've docked at, and we can set we can get trade data for any system that we've scanned the nav beacon for. So you don't have to have done any trade there, but we'll get trade data for places we've been and scanned, essentially. So we can see now that they've selected Azaban City, and we can see the profit that we're likely to make on the various materials, on the various commodities before we buy them, which is great, because before you'd sort of buy a load of stuff, and then try and find somewhere to sell it off by looking at the galaxy map. And this gives you a nice little indication of a place that you visit a lot, and you can see which thing is going to make you the most money on the way in. Next picture is okay. So this is the galaxy map, and over on the left hand side there, you can see in the map configuration we've got buy commodity. So we can now choose a commodity that we're looking to buy or sell, and we can see who imports that and who exports it. So people who export it are going to be the people selling it on the cheap. The people who import it don't mind paying a premium for it usually. And we can see on the galaxy map, in fact the next slide might be a bit better, there we go. So we can see those blue diamonds, and the size of the diamond relates to sort of how much they import or how much they want that thing, and the green triangle being how much people are exporting it, how much manufacturing or production is going on. And so you can see from the map a very easy way of sort of plotting from A to B based on a commodity that you're trying to sell. Now you may have this in your cargo and you're looking to get rid of it, or you might be looking at getting into buying and selling that particular commodity, and this is a great way of doing it. So it gives you a lot more data all in the same interface. And then one of the other things that I noticed was when you select a system, we're used to having just a few icons in there, and we've now got quite a few more. We can see all of the dockable locations in that system, so I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that, but there's that one, and you can see how much they are importing that for. So you've got your approximate price for that particular station in the system, rather than it being just the system price, which is what we're used to. And you can filter out some of those new icons are things like filtering out surface bases and things like that. So that gives us a lot more flexibility on what we're doing and where we're going, and we can from there go straight, target straight to the market. So we can set a course to the market at another system that's maybe a surface base or whatever, which is great. That saves having to just set a course to the place, then go and find the dock and set a target to that, and then go and dock. So the next thing they talked about was the technology broker, which is a new option. You can see it on the left there. So as I understand it, the technology broker is essentially a bit like the special weapons you get for power play. So when you get up to rank 3, with a lot of the power play powers, you'll get things like prismatic shields, or passive fire frag cannons is another one. And to get them, you have to basically align yourself with a power, stay with them for 4 weeks typically, and deliver, I think, about 750 merits, which you can get by delivering garrison documents and things like this. And so the technology broker essentially lets you unlock a lot of these, whether or not it's going to be the same things as you get in power play. I presume not, otherwise it would make the power play element somewhat redundant. But it will certainly let you unlock, as you can see there, a shock cannon, which is a fixed mount. So if you want to actually unlock that, you can deliver the items that are shown on the very right there: 30 vanadium, tungsten, rhenium, and technetium. I think they've made that last one up. And that will give you shock cannons unlocked, and they're unlocked at any station that sells cannons. So looking down that list there, an enzyme missile rack. So anywhere that sells missile racks, if you've unlocked the enzyme missile rack, will be selling enzyme missile racks. Now, it's not like they give you the gun, like if you were engineering this, and it would be give them a load of things, roll the dice, and here's your incendiary mini cannon or multi cannon or whatever. This is unlocking a version of essentially a special weapon or a special function for your ship. And I'm hoping that this isn't going to just be offensive weapons. There are a few like the remote release launchers and things like that. They're more defensive, I think. there is at the bottom there, you can see corrosive resistant cargo rack. And if I scrub through, I don't know how far down it is in the video. I don't think I've... Oh, there we go. So, it's the last one on there that caught my eye, and I had to... There we go. Meta alloy hull reinforcement. That's interesting, because we've all been and harvested meta alloys at one time or another. I did the unshielded cutter, sat on the surface of Maya and mined however many, it was about 600 tons of the thing, or something crazy, and delivering those back, getting interdicted every 30 seconds by everybody in space. And so meta alloys, great, but this is interesting because it's a hull reinforcement. So this is potentially going to buff the ship hull and make it even more resilient to attack. I mean, we don't know the specifics of it, but we certainly, looking at this screenshot here, it's 28 meta alloys, 30 focus crystals. That's quite a lot. So some of these things, it's not like they're going to be a case of just turn up and unlock everything and you're done. You're going to have to work for the materials to do this. And I imagine some of them are going to want data or scans and things like that. But it's certainly an interesting thing for the next version of the game. So as you can see, you get a description of the item you're trying to unlock, and we've got all of the things here in the video. Unlock the item, and then it's available to purchase in the store. So enzyme missile rack. First attempt at replicating Thargoid's organic hull corrosion weaponry. Now, I don't know whether that's just going to be a, burst on the hull of the ship and do more damage, or whether it's going to be like corrosive materials when you destroy a Thargoid ship, and if you fly through the cloud, it's stuck on you, and you've either got to burn it off with heat, or you've got to get to a station, dock, and do a repair and wipe a damp cloth over the ship and get rid of the stuff. So that's quite interesting. And so the last thing, pretty much the last thing they showed, was the improvements to megaships. Now, what they've done here is they've made megaships a lot more varied, and they've put lots of scannable stuff all over the ship. So at the beginning of this sequence, they... there we go. If I start this playing in a second. So they came up, came in Super Cruise, targeted the megaship, dropped out near it, did a scan, and you get this lovely little blue ripple goes across the ship and comes back up, as if to sort of, it's working its way along the hull and back again. And that opens up loads of things like data scan points, which you can scan and get information and data collectibles, I suppose. There are turrets which you can disable and essentially remedy the megaship more vulnerable. And then there's cargo bays. And the thing that appealed to me the most in this section was they said you can use hatch breakers to crack open the door on the cargo bay, and the megaship will spill its cargo out, which you can then pirate, which I thought was fantastic, because we're so used to, with pirating, you're so used to just... picking on that Cobra or picking on that other ship. And this is picking on a mega ship. But that said, they will come after you. So you get a time delay. Once you start doing, you can scan it, and they actually go in the video, they show scanning it isn't illegal. That's absolutely fine to have a look what they've got in the cargo bay. But, and I'll start this video here actually, they said at the minute you use a hatch breaker, you want it. So... system forces will start to drop in after a period of time. There we go. They've scanned it, so that's what's inside the cargo bay. And, if you start collecting this stuff, after a period of time, the system forces are going to turn up, and it's a megaship. It's going to have its own weapons, so it's going to start having a pop at you as well. So, here we go. He's going to... should be cracking out. There's the limpet. And if you have a look at the little docking, it's overriding the port. And then shortly after that, it's just going through a bit like a data scan. You see that little timer ring that goes around it. There we go. And of course, there's the door, flashing lights, the door's opening up, and out spills all the goodies. So Ed is frantically trying to switch over to his collectors there. There we go. He's going to fire off a collector once he's targeted something, and it'll go away and start hoovering up the goodies. But you know, you can see on the radar now there's a lot of red, and you know, shortly after this the station starts to open fire on him. But it looks very interesting. It looks like it's a quick way of gathering some, you know, potentially quite valuable materials rapidly, as long as you don't mind getting into a bit of a firefight over it. So there we go. This was Ed doing his best brave Sir Robin, and chickening out and buggering off, and setting a course to anywhere and boosting away. In the video, if you go and watch the Frontiers video, because I've pulled the sound off this, so for talking over, but the boost sound of the Chieftain is unbelievable. It's absolutely fantastic. It's such a raw power sound, you know. It's got so much energy to it, and as you can see, he's doing 300. Well, it was 360 there for a while. So, yeah. That was the part 2 video, which shows the ship, the mega ship, you know, the Chieftain, the mega ship, and the new improvements to the trade, which I think all three are going to be very interesting moving forward. And they've all said that this isn't the be all and end all of this. It is just the beginning, and there's going to be lots of tweaking and finessing, which is, you know, we always get that in Elite, but it's nice to know that they're saying up front, you know, this is the beginning of these features, especially the tech broker. That's a very interesting thing, because essentially the only way you're going to get fancy, you know, special weapons is by engineers or with power play. So this is a very nice little addition to that, and you can unlock just the things you want and not the things you don't, which is fantastic. So there we go. It's only a quick video, I think. What do we get? 22 minutes, so not my usual 45 to an hour. But I wanted to get this out tonight because it's just finished streaming, and hope you like it, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, bye.